Good morning, everybody. Mr. Shrinivas Dempo, President AIMA, Mr. Nikhil Sawhney, Senior Vice President AIMA, ladies and gentlemen. It's a real pleasure to have you all with us in AIMA's 8th National Leadership Conclave, and a very warm welcome to all of you. Shrini, it is a pleasure to have you with us, and many thanks for agreeing to address the conclave. You're an outstanding business leader and a staunch champion of India's growth and glory. You strongly believe in great future for the country, and we look forward to hearing your address on India's tryst with a new destiny in 2047. Nikhil, great to have you with us, and thank you again for agreeing to join us today. You lead businesses that connect India's past with its future. You're a keen observer of economic and environmental trends, and we look forward to hearing your views on how India can get rich responsibly. We are pleased to have many of AIMA's past presidents and AIMA Council members in the audience and also online. This conclave is being live streamed. I also welcome AIMA's distinguished friends and associates who have joined us at the venue and through AIMA's social media channels, and all our friends from the local management associations who have taken the trouble to join us today. A especially warm welcome to all of you. It is wonderful to have you all with us for this celebration of management. Ladies and gentlemen, AIMA's National Leadership Conclave is an opportunity for India's business leaders and management professionals to come together and discuss the most important issues facing the country. It is an opportunity to meet some of the country's most powerful leaders from different domains and learn from them. The overarching theme of this conclave is Mission 2047, India's tryst with a new destiny. We begin today's program by taking a look at where modern India has reached in the last 75 years and where is it headed to in the next 25. India has achieved the critical mass of economic size, sophistication, and growth to get steadily richer and stronger in the coming decades. India's dream of becoming a developed country by 2047 is quite viable, as a high GDP growth will pull up the per capita income to several times the present levels. India has unprecedented opportunities to join global supply chains and a favorable political climate to become a factory of the world. Today, India is invited to guard global trade and participate in shaping a new world order. India is already the official leader of G20 for this year, and it is coordinating the economic and developmental efforts that touch 2/3 of humanity. However, no future is ever guaranteed, and India has to be diligent in building its capacity for economic growth, sustainability, security, innovation, and leadership. The surest way to graduate from a country of immense possibilities to a country of great achievements is to give all Indians a stake in India's new destiny. We have an eclectic program for the conclave, and we will look at diverse dimensions of India's past, present, and future. We will consider the achievements, opportunities, and challenges for the country with leaders from the domains of government, industry, technology, and culture. I'm sure you will enjoy the varied flavors of knowledge and wisdom in today's program. We will open the conclave with talks on what India would or should look like in its centenary year, 2047, and immediately follow it up with two exciting sessions on India's changing place and role in the world. India's G20 Sherpa, Mr. Amitabh Kant, will tell us how India is shaping the global development agenda as G20 host, and India's G20 Chief Coordinator and former Finance Secretary, Mr. Harshvardhan Shringla, will talk about India's constructive leadership of a troubled and polarized world. Technology is a critical area for not only India's economic evolution, but also its sovereignty. We will have a session on India's need for supporting its innovators and entrepreneurs to establish an Atmanirbhar Bharat. Mr. Sudhanshu Mani, who led the development of India's indigenous high-speed train, Vande Bharat, will share his struggles and successes in creating a genuinely Indian product with Indian intellectual property. In another related session, we will hear Google's Apurva Chamaria and Rapido bike taxi founder Kunal Khattar and Anil Wali from IIT Delhi on how emerging technologies can democratize entrepreneurship for Gen Z. We will also look at the evolution of the metaverse economy with innovator and investor Mr. Rajan Navani. Metaverse has everyone excited as it offers the promise of artificial worlds with real jobs and businesses. We have an opportunity to hear Mr. Sanjeev Bajaj on how he has transformed his legacy financial business and has been faster on the draw than fintech startups. He has revolutionized consumer lending, big-ticket retail, and financial products distribution, and now he is ready for venture into the world of mutual funds and metaverse. Movie icons Ms. Sharmila Tagore and Mr. Kabir Bedi will also join us today. Ms. Tagore has not only been a leading actor in Indian films for 6 decades, she has also been a social activist and a standard bearer of individual liberty and women's sovereignty. She has agreed to share her experiences in this session with us. Mr. Kabir Bedi will talk to us about working in the entertainment industry in different parts of the world. He's been a pioneering actor who broke new ground for Indian actors by doing leading roles in Western films and serials. I'm sure you will enjoy these sessions with these venerable actors. Continuing in the eclectic mold of this program, we will hold a discussion with top economist and pop historian, Mr. Sanjeev Sanyal. In addition to advising the Finance Ministry and the Prime Minister on economic affairs, Mr. Sanyal has been digging into India's history and coming up with narratives that they do not teach at India's schools and universities. We will engage him in a conversation about why history matters for the future and whether there is only one true past and a singular destiny. It promises to be a fascinating session. I would urge all of you to stay with us through the sessions and explore new ways of understanding of India's economic, technological, and cultural past, present, and future, and also join us for the Managing India Awards in the evening, where we will bestow awards on some truly outstanding individuals. We will now have a special message from Mr. Nitin Gadkari, Minister for Road Transport and Highways for the Conclave. He could not join us in person as he had to be in Jammu and Kashmir today, but he has recorded a video message for us. With these words, a warm welcome to all of you once again. May I now request for the message to be played. Thank you.
Namaskar. Mr. Shrinivas Dempo, President of AIMA and Chairman of Dempo Group of Companies. Nikhil Sawhney, Senior Vice President AIMA and Vice Chairman and Managing Director of Triveni Turbine Limited. Rekha Sethi, Director General AIMA. Ladies and gentlemen, it is really a pleasure to me to address you and to interact with you. Actually, many times I got opportunity to interact with you, but because of my busy schedule, this time it was difficult for me. As for many congratulations to All India Management Association on its 8th National Leadership Conclave. My compliments to AIMA for leaders for creating an outstanding thought leadership platform. I appreciate that AIMA is always taking up current and emerging national issues. For many years, the National Leadership Conclave has been a premier forum for considering India's challenges, opportunities, issues, and strategies. I commend AIMA for focusing this year Leadership Conclave on India's new destiny as the country marches towards its century year in 2047. India is one of the fastest growing major economy in the world. The country has gradually built the economic capacity required to steadily increase its output at a high rate. Today, India has the critical mass of capital, technology, infrastructure, industry, entrepreneurship, and management to achieve its goals. We stand at 5th position in the world. Our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji has set a vision to make India a $5 trillion economy by 2025. Strong, stable, transparent, and visionary government is the key to achieve this dream. In about another 5 years, the country should become the 3rd largest economy, overtaking Japan. But we must not be satisfied with that. We have the potential to compete with China and the USA. India has the largest young population which will produce and consume for many decades to come, and that is very important. India has 64 lakh kilometer of road network, second largest road network in the world after USA. In fact, in 2024, India's road infrastructure will be at par that of the United States of America. The logistic cost in India is higher at 15 to 16% of the GDP compared to 8 to 9% of GDP of other developed economies such as the USA. The higher logistic cost reduces the competitiveness of made in India products in global markets. To reduce logistic cost, the government is gearing up with the accelerated integrated infrastructure development program like PM Gati Shakti and the National Infrastructure Pipeline Program. The National Logistic Policy 2022, which also aims to at ensuring the seamless movement of goods, and it is really very important agenda for the government. By reducing logistic cost, India producers and traders will provide extreme competition to countries like China. India is building highways and industrial corridors to allow rapid and unrestricted movement between major production, consumption and shipping hubs. The country is involved in the massive capacity and efficiency enhancing exercise. It is no surprise that the multimodals are looking at India as the next factory of the world. While we are set for a massive increase in industrial and commercial activity in the next 25 years, we are also cautious of our responsibility towards the planet. The green hydrogen is the fuel for the future and sustainable alternative to coal, oil and gas-based energy sources. India is in an excellent position to shape itself as an energy exporter, and this can be only possible due to the potential of green hydrogen in India. The research and development in the green hydrogen sector is very critical, and my objective is that this sector should be developed in a manner that hydrogen can be produced at the level of households and can be utilized for various applications. India's business leaders must play their role in making India a rich and great country by 2047. They must contribute to the mission of Atmanirbhar Bharat through greater investment in production, technology, development and inclusive strategies so that India to be able to raise its per capita income as well as aggregate output. I compliment AIMA on holding an excellent national leadership conclave with a very thoughtful focus. Best wishes to AIMA and thank you to all of you. And I am confident that this convention is going to contribute, inspire and motivate the people who are working for the economic growth of our country. Namaskar. Thank you.
On behalf of everyone present here today, we thank Shri Nitin Gadkari for joining the proceedings and sharing his thoughts with us, albeit virtually. May I now request Mr. Shrinivas Dempo, President AIMA and Chairman Dempo Group of Companies, to please address the audience.
Good morning. I'd like to begin by thanking the Honorable Minister, Shri Gadkari ji, for his very enlightening address. My friend Nikhil, Rekha, past presidents, Mr. Sudhir Jalan, Mr. Sanjay Kirloskar, my apologies in advance if I haven't addressed any past president, but I don't see any past president else in the audience. Members of Local Management Association, council members, ladies and gentlemen. I deem it both a privilege and pleasure to welcome you to this 8th edition of AIMA's National Leadership Conclave, which is rightly titled and themed as Mission 2047, India's Tryst with a New Destiny. Today, you all have an opportunity to engage with some of India's finest brains and iconic leaders from diverse policy and business domains. It's not only business, but it's all relevant fields in Indian society today. And you will hear from different experts on the topic that we've selected. We hope to take up a lot of relevant issues that concern all of us and identify not only ways to take on prevailing challenges, but also to address emerging opportunities. Today's program also gives us an opportunity to connect India's present and its promised new destiny that we are all going to debate the whole day today. I would strongly urge you to join me on this journey of discovery and understanding. As all of us know, India is celebrating its 75th anniversary of independence from the British Raj, and there is a lot to celebrate for us in terms of our achievements. From being the big dirty jewel in the British crown in 1947, India has become the shining star of the world and global economy. Having received an emaciated country from the departing British, it's with a matter of pride that India has overtaken the British GDP. India has become the fastest growing top 10 economy in the world, and its recent growth trend, which averages to about 7%, is more than twice its rate of growth during the first 3 decades of its independence. Its constantly growing economy base allows it to produce, consume, and invest more with a lot of ease. India has also acquired a global distinction and reputation for producing world-class leadership talent. It's again a matter of great pride for all of us Indians that Indian educated, and I'm not saying persons of Indian origin, Indian educated persons are heading American tech giants. And I'm told, and we've all read, that an Indian is likely to head the World Bank soon. Many global financial, consumer, and consulting multinationals have had Indian CEOs. To top it all, it's a matter of great pleasure to say that children of Indian immigrants are now leaders of governments in the US and the UK. With economic success and admiration for talent have come global respect for us, for our capabilities, abilities, and support for its aspirations. Today, as all of us know, India has the presidency of G20 for a year and is setting the agenda, taking the leadership for the group that represents 85% of the global GDP and 75% of the international trade. You are soon going to have an opportunity to listen to a brilliant speaker, Mr. Amitabh Kant, who's shortly going to be here to address you all and interact with you all on this very important topic. Many countries and companies are favoring India to diversify their supply chains from our neighboring country. India is the fulcrum of America's pivot to Asia and a central member of the Quad Alliance for securing Indian and Pacific Oceans for maritime trade. India is being wooed by all sides in the new East-West confrontation, and India's insistence on doing business with both sides is also equally accepted, despite severe polarization happening in the world. This, my friends, is the new India and the new global world. However, we must all take it in our strides that this popularity or prospects cannot be taken for granted. The country needs to use these breaks to build a solid foundation for a faster growing India, a stronger, secure India, and a greater geo-economic role in the world, and a better India in general for all of us. It's about time to stop looking in the rearview mirror and start focusing on the road ahead to our mission and India's centenary 2047. It is time to look at what more can be done to make Indian economy more vibrant, stronger, sharper, and even more essential for the global world. If India can sustain its present growth trajectory, it is well positioned to become, as the Honorable Minister has said, the world's third largest economy before the end of this decade, behind only US and China, with a GDP well in excess of the targeted $5 trillion. India has become one of the most populous countries, and demographically, India has the largest worker and consumer base. More importantly, India's next generation will consist mostly of digital native millennials whose entrepreneurial and professional capacities would greatly exceed those of our previous generations. The government is committed through its various reform projects to support businesses. It explicitly wants private corporations to own and operate critical infrastructure and assets, while it is propping up digital enterprises by undertaking data acquisition, just as earlier governments in the past used their power to acquire land for the industry. With the government enabling data collection and sharing, there would be an exponential growth in digital entrepreneurship in the country. Being data rich, India could become a leader in the emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence, metaverse, and enhanced reality. Moreover, the faster pace and greater volume of transactions due to digital convenience that we all know about will greatly add to the GDP in the coming years. The expectations about where India's GDP is going to be at 2047 is anyone's guess, but an optimist like me would place it closer to $40 trillion. India is aiming to be a developed country in its 100th year, which means its per capita income has to multiply at least 5 to 6 times from the current levels, which is possible given its growth rate in recent years. The calculation will also be helped by a decline in population after peaking in the next few years. In the past 75 years, there have been very few countries that have managed to grow their per capita income at such an annual average growth rate, and India has the potential to join this exclusive club. While we do have the heart is keen and the mind is strong, there has to be realism about India's power to grow and pragmatism in its growth strategy. There are many critical inputs of economic growth that are not in the best shape. One indicator, my friends, is the Human Development Index. I think we have to climb rapidly on this. We are at 132nd rank, and India not only has to focus on the pace of growth, but also its distribution. While we do have some of the world's richest people residing in India, we also have many of its poorest. World Inequality Report paints India as one of the most inequitable countries, where the bottom 50% of the population earns only 13% of the national income. While we do have an aspiration to become the third largest economy in the world, but our rank on the per capita GDP is only close to 140. So we have to broaden our priorities and aspirations to make a difference and to make India into a very inclusive country. We also require, a decade is not enough, and we require a longer time. It requires long-term consensus, consistency, commitment, and conducive conditions to turn this possibility into a reality. Even as we celebrate of what India has achieved in the last 75 years, we must not be satisfied or become complacent. The world has seen so many countries litter away their opportunities and slip back. Therefore, to achieve the national goal by 2047 to become a developed nation, it's important to aim for the best, but with flexibility to evade shocks like the ones we are seeing right now in the global economy and change the course if needed. As India starts on the last quarter century of the journey of its centenary, the country, I believe, and all of us believe, is full of possibilities and optimism. It's on the cusp of a multifaceted transformation, and we can be confident that the next 25 years will be mostly good for India, and the country will be a lot richer and stronger. Once again, I welcome you to this 8th edition of the National Leadership Conclave. I do hope you have a great day listening to so many of the experts, so many of people who have contributed to nation building, whether it's in economy, art, culture, and so many diverse subjects. Wish you a successful deliberation ahead during the day. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. May I now request Mr. Nikhil Sawhney, Senior Vice President, AIMA, and Vice Chairman and Managing Director, Triveni Turbine Limited, to address the audience.
My good friend Shri, it's very difficult to follow your speech, and it's good that you've covered mostly all the points that one needs to talk about, because as all of our bosses, Rekha has informed me that we're running short of time, and we have Mr. Amitabh Kant's session next, which I will be speaking on as well. So I'll try to be brief here. Firstly, I'd like to welcome our past presidents, Mr. Kohli, Mr. Jalan, Mr. Kirloskar. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to be with you here today. The topic of the new tryst with destiny that India needs to grapple with over the next 25 years has many points that one would like to ponder over, both the opportunities and the challenges. But there are many, many more opportunities, as Shrini has pointed out. I'd like to focus on just two. One is the challenge as well as the opportunity of artificial intelligence as well as decarbonization. Both present a global challenge of a public good which we need to tackle. And India needs to set its own priorities and show the world a new form of development, which was not the same as what China would have been able to do with an increasingly heavily carbonized mode of development. I think India is opportunely poised to not only leverage and harness its skill set in terms of human capital, where over the next 2 to 3 years, we will have the largest percentage as well as absolute population in the working age, between the age of 18 and 65, which bodes very well for us to be able to achieve the growth rates of what Shrini had talked about. Equally, I think it's incredibly important that we focus on building institutions so that we are sustainable in our growth endeavors and not able to fall and don't fall back to the Hindu growth rate, which everyone here is familiar with. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, we will have a packed agenda for today, and we'd like to keep it on track from the first session itself. I hope that you could be seated while we convene the next session. Thank you very much, everyone.